Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's early morning Cynicalex voice, and today we've got the patch notes for the upcoming January 8th Warriors of the Sky update. So the patch notes are finally here. There's a lot to cover. We're going to go through it, but first I just want to let you guys know that the maintenance is slightly adjusted from before. It's still a pretty long maintenance, a 7-hour maintenance, but from what I can see, the maintenance is starting 1 hour earlier than usual, and it's ending 1 hour earlier than usual. So anytime the maintenance ends earlier for people in Europe, for people on the East Coast, West Coast of the United States, Canada, and parts of South America as well, it's amazing. So thank you very much. It does mean that people in Asia are going to lose playing of the game around 5-6 a.m. It also means that I think someone at Marvel Future Fight is going to have to start the maintenance at 6 a.m. So thank you for getting up so early and being there. But yeah, it means that the maintenance is going to end at 1 a.m. Eastern time rather than 2 a.m. Eastern time. So I am pretty happy about that, especially if there's a delay. It won't be quite as late, but here's hoping there's no delay. Let's cross our fingers for no delay. So anyways, let's jump into the patch notes now. I'm not going to cover these characters because we've already played with them in the APK and you can watch those videos. The one thing I am going to point out is that you can see the full effects of the Awakened skill for all 4 of the Warriors of the Sky characters, and you can basically go line by line to see what is added when you level up the skill. So that was one thing that we were trying to sort of discover in the APK. I was leveling up Shadow Shell's Awakened skill, but you can see the first level is going to add that crit rate. So going from level 1 to level 2. Going from level 2 to level 3 is going to add the crit damage. 3 to 4 adds the increased all attack. 4 to 5 adds the ignore dodge, and then the last level up will oh, you know what, invincibility is actually the first one. Okay, so just start with invincibility and then work your way through crit rate, crit damage, all attack, ignore dodge, and you can also go and scroll through and see what they are all are for the other ones, but they should be all very similar. I think this one has all defense decrease 30% for 8 seconds, so that's nice. It might be good for certain content, but doesn't have ignores immunity. And then she has the immunity, the crit damage, the crit rate, the all attack, the ignore defense. The ignore defense. Okay, interesting. They had ignore dodge, right? Okay, so it's either ignore dodge or ignore defense. And then his should be the same as, yeah, fire resistance, crit rate, crit damage, all attack, ignore dodge. Yeah, and then removes all debuffs. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That should give you an idea of which of the 4 you want to awaken first, because you have to awaken them all individually. And then they all Warriors of the Sky event battle. Oh, I just noticed that. Okay, so we are going to be getting an event battle for the Warriors of the Sky, and you will be able to get more bios for Sunbird. So hopefully you saved up a mega rank up ticket, because if this event battle shares the same rules as the previous event battles for Luna Snow, Crescent, and X23, having a 5 or 6 star Sunbird will get you access to all of the event battles, all 4 of the stages, all 4 of the difficulties, so to speak, and then you will be able to get even more bios for Sunbird for free just by spending that mega rank up ticket in advance, and then possibly get even more rewards like the Gwenpool card, etc. if they rotate them. Also, I failed to mention this in any other videos, but I mentioned it on Twitter, but thank you to everybody that reminded me. Do not strongly consider not using your tier 2 selector that we are getting from the pre-registration event rewards. Strongly consider not using it on Shadow Shell. I know I told you guys to use it on Shadow Shell, and she's a really good character, but as you can see here, you will get biometrics from the Shield Academy rewards. And what that looks like essentially is over here in the Shield Academy, you can see I'm going to get 10 biometrics of Shadow Shell if I just do some of these missions. In total, you get 630 biometrics of Shadow Shell, which is equal to getting her from 1 star to 6 stars. So you can sort of skip that part and then just have to get extra bios for her, for the gears 15 to 20, and then for the tier 2, which is 150, if you don't want to use that tier 2 selector. Alternatively, you can use the tier 2 selector on someone like War Tiger or Dr. Voodoo or Morgan Le Fay or Iron Hammer, but you can consider that because it's less efficient. You can still use the tier 2 selector on Shadow Shell, but then you'll just have an extra 630 bios for her that you could save for a future uniform, or you could use those 600 Shadow Shell bios to get someone to level 70. But I just wanted to let you guys know that you are getting 630 Shadow Shell bios from the Shield Academy if you don't want to use that tier 2 selector on her and you have other options. Okay, we finally got that done. We already got the new uniforms. We already know about these uniforms. The uniform options seem to be the same. They're sort of a copy-paste from the endgame uniforms. Sharon Rogers, she just gets an upgrade of 10% chain hit damage, so it goes up from 10% to 20%, and she also gets the change to her 5th skill with the heal. Also, people, a lot of people in the Sharon Rogers video were saying, Cynicalex, you didn't notice that her new 4th skill is changed from physical damage to energy damage. Now, it is true that the tooltip says energy here, and then when you go over here, it says physical. However, that's just the beginning of Buster Lance. The beginning of Buster Lance, when she runs at you and she spins her lance, that's physical. So if you play a Shadowland stage and she does that skill, she'll die. But the second part of the skill where she shoots up, where she like jumps up and it's an iframe and she shoots a beam, that's all energy. That's why that part of the skill does a ton of damage to Cull Obsidian. So it's half physical, half energy. It's not fully physical. I knew the first part of the skill was physical. I don't think that small part of the skill being changed from physical to energy is adding all that extra damage to Sharon Rogers. It's definitely something else. So thank you guys for pointing that out to me, but also it's a little bit more complicated than you made it sound. So yeah, we got these new uniforms. These 3 uniforms, as we've discussed, are only available and only used for the story mode. I mean, you can use them outside of the story mode, but they are made for the story mode, so their power level is sort of on that track and on that idea. We've got 9 new characters getting their potential. Now, this is badly worded. It says 9 characters can realize their potential and advance to tier 3. No, we are not getting tier 3 Songbird. None of these characters are getting tier 3 actually, but they are getting their potential unlocked, so they can reach level 70. Now, the interesting thing: these are the Warriors of the Sky. Yes. These are the new Avengers. There's one character missing. Gwenpool. Gwenpool was introduced with the new Avengers as the shifter in those special missions in the, September 2016 update. So it's very, very curious that they are given potential and Gwenpool is not, especially considering that Gwenpool got a holiday uniform just a month ago. Less than a month ago. So it's very, very suspicious. My guess is that Gwenpool's going to be getting a tier 3. Not like this update, but like next update or the update after that. Because it's really, really weird to not include her. Now would be the perfect time to include her. She is, she was introduced with the new Avengers and she got a uniform. So there's no reason not to give her potential. This is very, very suspicious. Crescent gets her tier 3. A lot of star agents and some players have been complaining and noting that Crescent seems very, very weak. I don't think Crescent is weak. She's definitely stronger than Black Panther from my testing. She might actually be stronger than Mr. Fantastic from my testing as well. But she could be a bit stronger if her second skill accumulation was increased from 4-second duration to like 10 seconds. So this is something that star agents have pointed out, and I congratulate them for pointing that out. Thank you for pointing that out. But yeah, the Moon Taunt has the same self buff as Sharon Rogers does. It has a 15% for 15% accumulation, which is a total accumulation buff of up to 225% all attack. And the problem is that it only lasts for 4 seconds. This is the exact same wording and the exact same buff as Sharon Rogers' 3rd skill, except Sharon Rogers' 3rd skill lasts for 10 seconds. Sorry about that. My mouth was like super dry, so I had to drink something. Anyways, they also discuss here in the patch notes the awakening ability. The awakening ability for the Warriors of the Sky works like this. I'm not exactly sure why they put level 70, level 60, but I think what this means is that in order to unlock her awakened ability, you need to have the other Warriors of the Sky at level 60, but she needs to be level 70. So that's basically how the awakening skill works. You first have to get to level 70 with the character that has an awakened skill, and then you need to get the growth conditions of the designated character in regards to other characters. So they're making the awakened skill connected to the characters that are involved in it. So for example, in the future, if there is a new awakened skill, let's say for the Fantastic Four, there might be certain conditions where, let's say, Mr. Fantastic needs to be tier 3 for Mr. Fantastic's awakened skill, and then you need to have, let's say, level 60 tier 1 Human Torch and level 60 tier 1 Thing, but you have to have tier 2 Invisible Woman. This time around, all of the conditions are the same. The other characters just need to be level 60. They don't need to be tier... It doesn't even seem like they need to be tier 2. They might need to be tier 2, though. It's unclear. But it doesn't mean that these conditions are always going to be this way for future characters. Maybe they're going to do a rework to the Spider-Verse characters, and they're going to introduce awakened skills for Spider-Verse, for like Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, and Silk. And then they're going to have different requirements where some of them need to be level 60, some of them maybe need to be level 70, some of them maybe need to be tier 2, maybe Spider-Man needs to be tier 3 for Miles Morales' awakened ability, which means I'll never get his awakened ability, and so on and so forth. But yeah, this is the awakened ability. In order to awaken it the very first time, it costs tier 3 materials, and this is called awakening crystals. I'm going to refer to this as red candy. After you awaken the skill, you have to level it up, and leveling it up costs more red candy, as you can see here, and it costs tier 2 materials. And you can get the red candy from World Boss Ultimate. It seems to drop in fairly large quantities. I've seen it drop like 17, 20, 25. So you're not going to be getting 1 and 2 per battle, hopefully, if the APK is any indication. And then you will be using it to level up these skills. Really, right now, the red candy only has one use in the game, which is to do these awakened skills for the Warriors of the Sky only. So we'll have to wait and see how many of these awakened skills they add. I think it's a really cool idea to put these like synergistic skills that are only for specific groups of characters. I love this kind of idea. I've said this thousands of times before in videos, where having this sort of like in-group cohesion and having certain conditions that you have to have an entire team to get some sort of bonus, I think is a really good thing, and it really highlights the team up aspect of Marvel and Marvel Future Fight. Like, you know, Marvel is all about team ups, so why not reward players for having all of those characters with something extra? And this is kind of like that. Now, keep in mind the Awaken skill looks pretty weak right now. When I tried it from level 1 to level 3, my level 3 Shadow Shell wasn't hitting very hard, but these may be the types of skills. I know I always say never level up your skills to level 6 unless they have an effect. These might be the skills that leveling up to level 6 is where you're really going to see that juicy damage. So we're going to have to wait and see how strong these skills are. Keep in mind, these skills are going to have a built-in cooldown. So you're not going to be able to use them instantly in Battle World or Alliance Conquest or Timeline Battle or Alliance Tournament. They're going to have an internal cooldown already. So you'll have to wait to use them. So they're not going to be like cheesy skills that you can just spam right away at the beginning of a battle to kill your enemy. We have the new changes to the story mode, and they just sort of detail these and like saving your progress and things like that. The story mode is now sequential, so you can't go back and play a specific stage when you want. You have to go through the story from 1 to 20. There's 20 different stages and sort of play through it. The very first time that you play through it, you will unlock, I believe it's Iron Man's new $30.99 uniform for free. The second time you play it as a first clear, second clear reward, you'll get, it says Captain America. Anyways, you won't get Captain America's Black Widow $30.99 uniform. You'll get Black Widow's $30.99 uniform. And then the third time you play it, you will get Cap's $30.99 uniform. There's biometrics you can get for all of the characters, and you can see which characters are added to the pool as you progress. So at the beginning, you can only get bios for these characters, and then it goes up. You get between like 5 and 10 bios for every clear. So in total, on average, for completing the entire story mode, you're going to get about 120 bios, which is really good. 120 bios for 80 energy is like one of the best in the game. However, it is a large time sink. So this is sort of the value comparison of the story mode. It takes a lot of time, but it's really fun, and you get really good base biometric rewards. It also doesn't use up your boost points, so you can play it at any time, whether you have boost points or not. And on top of the 3 free uniforms, on top of the 100+ bios every time you play, you will get this purple box. the purple box can obtain, it's a random reward, so it could be terrible, but it could be a CTP, it could be an Odin's Blessing, 6-star Awakened ISO, premium card. So I think it's definitely worth it if you have the time to play the story mode every single day. And it will get easier after the first time you play because of the 30.99 uniforms that you can equip and then level up and things like that. So I think the story mode is amazing. I love it. I made videos on it. I did spoiler video about the all of the cutscenes. Apologies for doing that in advance of the update being out. I didn't know you guys cared that much about spoilers. And yeah. Additional improvements have also been made to the Shield Academy, so new missions, new gold. So there's a bunch of new missions in the Shield Academy. So yeah, expect more crystals, Shadow Shell Bios, and more gold. And then some of the rewards that can be obtained from the existing story missions will be given to agents who meet the conditions after we complete the maintenance. So this is really complicated. People were asking, like, are we going to be getting a free CTP of energy and a free 6-star blue Marvel? No. From my wording, from my understanding of the wording, if you've completed story mission 3-7, so they're being really generous and they're lowering the conditions for getting Odin down from 12-8 to 3-7. So if you're like a brand new player, you still have time to grind. Like, you could do it right now if you start a brand new account and you could get to story 3-7. And then after the maintenance, they will give you a 1-star Odin automatically in your inbox. But for the 6-star Blue Marvel and the CTP of Energy, you are going to have to complete 13-7. If you've already completed 13-8, which is most players have already completed the story, you will not get these rewards. So they're not doubling the rewards. This is not the same situation as the special missions where they're giving us the free CTPs as a login. These are just for existing. Players who haven't yet gotten these rewards. They still have an opportunity to get them. It will be given in your inbox after the maintenance, as far as I'm understanding it. So yeah, they've also done some other changes to daily challenges and achievements and world boss challenges that required the story mode. It's really not that important. They've improved the dimension missions. We made a video about this so that you can now get additional biometrics. We tested it. You can get the biometrics randomly, whether you auto clear or whether you run through the mission. And that's an important thing to note. You do still get the bios if you run through the missions because people need to grind uniform XP. And also because there's a new quality of life change in the update, which is down here somewhere. I don't know why they didn't put them side by side. But yes, this new feature, I love it. I tweeted it out. You can basically set the amount of times you want to clear the dimension mission, but it also applies to epic quest and event missions. So you can basically say, you can put your phone down charging and say, I want to run exactly 25. And you can pump it up to 25 and it'll tell you how many clear tickets it's going to spend, how much energy. You hit start and the game will run through. It's still going to stop if, your phone dies, or if you run out of inventory space, or you run out of energy, or you run out of clear tickets or whatever. But this is a really, really good feature for players who wanted to play a specific number, like, for example, 35, which is the number that you need to play per day to get all of the contribution rewards. So I love this feature. I think it's an excellent feature. I think it should be everywhere in the game. And quality of life changes like this are great. Now we just need an upgrade to the inventory. There's also some quality of life changes as far as upgrading the gear. You can go all the way to 20 automatically instead of going one by one from 15 to 20. They've created some safeguards to stop people, well, not stop, but give people an additional pop-up window when they're trying to delete a CTP, or they're trying to re-roll a CTP with another CTP. So for those of you that have accidentally done this in the past, hopefully you'll never do this in the future. They've also made it easier to re-roll obelisks and CTPs faster, because instead of having to click this button and then click change option again, it will automatically click change option, and then you'll just have to select an obelisk from the list. They also added a uniform collection bonus for the 30.99 uniform, so you can collect that million gold basically for free, because you get the uniforms for free as well. You just have to rank these up to mythic, and ranking them up to mythic will presumably help you in the story mode, so that's pretty cool. There's also the cost of Blue Dragon, which we've already talked about. So everyone will have a 1-star Blue Dragon. If you have a 1-star Blue Dragon and you purchase this crystal package, which is the same as like Iceman, Sabretooth, and Emma Frost, you will automatically get a 6-star blue dragon If you already have a 6-star blue dragon, like if you use a mega rank up ticket on her, then this package will disappear and you'll only see this package, which costs $12.50 and has 160 bios and some other resources. So it's exactly the same as the other crystal characters. They also added all of the story mission characters to the support shop for biometrics. We already talked about that. They gave some VIP perks regarding double bonuses, like the chance to get double bonus rewards on the dimension missions instead of the story missions. So that's lovely. I think that's I think this is like a low-key amazing bonus for VIP players, because I think it goes all the way up to like a 50% chance to double the rewards, and like doubling the rewards when you have this many rewards is actually insane. So like you get, 2 UUK, you get 4 of these, you get 4 bios, you get 6 of these. Like it doesn't seem like a lot because these rewards are trash, but if you get like a 3-star card, you'll get 2 3-star cards or whatever. So it actually is low-key like really good for high VIPs. Okay, moving along, we also have some other things to talk about here. We have the little icon in the top corner here. This exclamation mark is just to show you which daily quests and Shield Academy quests you've completed, and you can just acquire the reward there instead of having to back out to the achievement or challenges page, or like the daily challenges tab of the game. They also added a chat filter. So for those of you who are super antisocial, you can turn off chat messages. You can also turn off system messages, so you basically won't see anything here. System messages is things like X player has received an Odin's blessings from World Boss, or like X player is gambling and they got a CTP of Rage from the box, stuff like that. And then of course regular chat messages is like the regular shit that people say in the chat. They have also added some stuff in the shop to they basically just highlighted the things that you can purchase that have a daily bonus. It's got its own separate tab, so it's just easier to find things like the Stark Stash, which is nice. You can no longer sell CTPs for gold. I guess that's pretty cool. And then this is the biggie. They are upgrading. This is huge. That's why I got to start talking like this. They are upgrading the Cosmic Cube Fragment drop rate by 1.5. Okay. And there's also World Boss Striker Reorganization. Now, this is not 100% clear to me, so I'm going to read it again for you guys. But they said the November update changed the way the World Boss co-op skill worked that used one useful skill. Okay, I don't really know what they mean by co-op skill, because it's not the co-op skill. It's just the striker. Like the co-op skill is the purple button that you press where they all jump in. That's not what it is. It's just the regular striking skill. We've made changes to provide a better and smoother gameplay experience. Many agents shared their feedback that they find the changes to be lacking, and the content's fun factor is lower than expected. So this is something that I initially expressed as well, that I thought the game was too easy because you can just infinitely mind control with Scarlet Witch, and you can always apply the maximum all defense down with Weapon Hex and other characters. But I sort of got used to it because it allowed players to push to higher world bosses, and players felt that they could, be more competitive without the RNG factor of the strikers influencing the game, because it was really like there's really a huge gap between the strikers playing like shit and making your experience very RNG versus the strikers playing perfectly, always doing the right skill, and then there's no RNG and it's like smooth sailing. So I initially had a pretty strong negative reaction to it, but over time I sort of saw that there is some silver lining to it. So what they're saying here is that in the future they're going to adjust the co-op skill balance to help improve World Boss. We don't know what that means. We don't know if that means they're going to make the skills random again. We don't know if that means if they're going to make the cooldown between striker attacks longer. So rather than like Scarlet Witch coming out every 2 seconds to mind control, she'll come out every like 5 seconds. So it's like there's a gap in between, or maybe more than 5 seconds, whatever. They also said World Boss difficulty will also be changed to the previous level. So I think they're going to make World Boss harder, which I'm down for that. I like difficulty. I like challenge. I'm ready for that. I hope they don't make it harder by just increasing the boss's damage and increasing their defense and increasing the HP. That's not really difficulty. That's just annoyance and sort of artificial challenge. So hopefully they make the world boss more difficult by doing other things, maybe introducing more stage hazards, or introducing some sort of like dodging mechanic where the boss will do like an uninterruptible attack and you just have to dodge it, like a little mini game in the stage. I don't know, but I hope the difficulty increase is not just cranking up the numbers, because that's like, it's just a really boring buff. They will make sure to notify us in advance. So guys, what I'm saying now, none of this is applying to this update, except the good stuff, the CCF. So the world boss changes, the world boss difficulty is not going up in this update. The striker change is not happening or being adjusted in this update. That's going to happen later. They're just letting us know that this stuff is being taken into consideration because of our feedback. So that's really good that they're listening. In addition, so they're saying, hold on, this is really important. In addition, as tier 3, they said tie, but whatever, tier 3. In addition, as tier 3 characters increases, the number of cosmic cube fragments earned in the January update will be increased by 1.5 times. So that's huge. That's insane. That means that, I mean, I'm not sure if that means that cosmic cube fragments will drop 1.5 times more often, which means that you will see CCF dropping more frequently, or if it means that the drop rate is the same, but you will get 1.5 times the amount. I'm unclear whether it's like the drop rate of the CCF or whether it's the amount that you get, but either way, you will be getting more CCF. This is just like, it's a net benefit of more CCF, so that's pretty amazing. 1.5 times is a pretty substantial increase, so people should be seeing a lot more CCF. And the crazy thing is that they just introduced Conqueror, and Conqueror bonus was giving us 50 CCF just for getting to stage 10 of World Boss, which is with each of the bosses, which is like a total of 2,000 CCF that you can get quite, I mean, easily. Just you get it just by playing. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of CCF that they're pumping at us, but we've only seen one tier 3 character per update. So as the tier 3 characters increases, we're gonna, like, it sounds like we're gonna be getting updates with 2, 3, 4 tier 3s at the same time. I don't necessarily like that. I mean, we can have a different, we can extend this conversation for something else, for another video, but in another video, but yeah, I don't want tier 3 characters to come out and it just be like, really generic like they did with tier 2 characters. Tier 2 characters in Marvel Future Fight were being added like, a few at a time. Sometimes one at a time, and then to catch up, Marvel Future Fight started just dumping like 5 tier 2s at the same time. There was a lot of copy paste of the tier 2 abilities, so like Black Bolt and Elsa have basically the same tier 2 ability. And yeah, I don't know, I don't really want to see that, to be honest with you. I want the tier 3s to all feel unique, so hopefully Marvel Future Fight and the devs recognize that the tier 3s are supposed to be unique, and they're supposed to be like very individualistic, and again, I'm going to use the word unique, and hopefully they don't make any of these tier 3s lazily or sloppily or like copy and paste-ily, and hopefully all the tier 3s feel unique and feel special, even if we're getting multiple tier 3s per update. So that's pretty exciting. This is probably the most important announcement in the entire update, and it's packed all the way at the bottom. It's pretty crazy. The time and details for the co-op skill balance changes will be announced on a later date. So they're going to give us a heads up before they change anything to the strikers and world boss. And then they said they'll do their best to make the game enjoyable and fun. Thank you very much, Marvel Future Fight. We want the game to be enjoyable and fun. We also want the game to be challenging. And we also want a game mode where we can use our entire roster. Crazy, I know. And then they also said the Alliance Battle Extreme Mode High Score Guide. So this is another crazy thing that they added. There has been ongoing discussion about making improvements to the high scores in Alliance Battle Extreme. No, this is what you need to do, Marvel Future Fight. Wake up. You guys need to add rewards to Alliance Battle Extreme. Currently, there is no reason other than the stupid pissing contest that is Alliance Tournament. There's no reason to go past 100,000 points because you stop giving rewards at 100,000. You guys are going to upgrade the cap again from 3.5 million up, and there are still no rewards for going from 100,000 to 3.5 million. I'm saying these words and it sounds so stupid coming out of my mouth. Any other game where they say, yeah, you know what, you can get a score of 1 or you can get a score of 35 and we'll give you the same rewards. No, that's dumb as hell. That's a thumbs down. So yeah, you guys definitely need to improve. I mean, I would improve the entire Alliance Battle Extreme game mode. I would rework the whole game mode. I would give it the dimension mission, the story mode makeover. I don't know what the hell. I'm like sideways jerking a fucking shake weight. But anyways, rework Alliance Battle Extreme. Give us actual real rewards. I don't care if the cap is 5 million. You can take the cap off for all I care. Take that shit off, baby. But you gotta rework the game mode so it's more fun and more challenging. And you also have to give us actual rewards. Since the final adjustments take some time, we will try to apply the current changes in our upcoming update. I don't know what that means. A detailed notice will be posted in the future. I really don't want you guys to just upgrade the cap to 5 million and then be like, we did a good job, we're done here. Don't do that. That's the worst thing you could do. You did that before, upgrading the cap from 2 million to 3.5. It was dog shit. Please don't do that again. Really, seriously. You guys have done an amazing job with Giant Boss Raid, Danger Room, besides the the few difficulties with it. You guys did an amazing job with Dimension missions, an amazing job with story missions and the story mode. Please do the same thing for Alliance Battle Extreme. It would incentivize everyone in the game to actually play the game mode rather than just the top 16 alliances, because there's actual rewards involved. And then there's a whole bunch of game fixes. Some of these game fixes, like a lot of these game fixes are amazing. I'm not really going to go through all of them, but I don't see anything here about the color of World Boss. But everything else I do see. I see one about the HP bar not being the same. I see one about uniform XP not being applied playing Dimension missions. I see one about the organization of characters in Shadowland. Yeah, so there's a lot of amazing, you know, kind of like quality of life game error, game bug fixes. There's another one about Apocalypse crashing Danger Room when he uses his tier 3 skill somewhere here. So yeah, with that being said, tons and tons of changes, not only in this update, but coming in the future for Marvel Future Fight. What do you guys think? Cosmic Cube fragment drop rate increased by 1.5. World Boss Striker reorganization. World Boss difficulty change to the previous level. Man, spicy, spicy, spicy. Anyways, guys, do not miss all the action live on Twitch tonight. Whenever the game goes live, I will be live on Twitch to play Marvel Future Fight. In addition, I will be live a few hours earlier than the maintenance, like a few hours earlier than the game being up. If you're bored during the maintenance, go to twitch.tv/Cynicalex. I'll be playing some Outer Worlds. It'll be a ton of fun, and tons of people will be there. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting me, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.